Welcome back to Unladylike Opinions. I'm in another room today because I just don't feel like sitting up my what you call the thing? Ring lights. And I just want to sit still. I didn't want to go in that room. So this is Queen Sugar season 6 episode 4. Today a different day. So the episode starts off with Charlie, preparing for the interview with, Gayle King or whatever. So she's on a Zoom, and it's a Zoom interview or whatever. I hate this glare in my glasses, but it's off my laptop, so. Gayle tells her that, stand by, they're going to finish set up or whatever. So, I think that Gayle is going to kind of like railroad Charlie with a bunch of questions about her and David's relationship. But I think Charlie is prepared for it because, she did post that picture. So, Darla and Ralph Angel are laying in bed having a little, married time or whatever. So, and then they hear a cop pull up. And, she was telling him, how proud of him she was. And then he was like, no matter what they are going through, they're gonna always get through it. And so he hears the car and he jumps up and runs outside, and it's the sheriff. And the sheriff was like, I have a warrant to search your property. And he snatches it out his hand and was like, why are you doing this? And he said, thanks your sister in her little book that people think that there's bodies buried on this land, and they think it's the people that went missing, and they think that his daddy is the one who killed the people. And Ralph Angel was like, my dad ain't killed nobody. And Nova book is a bunch of lies. That's basically what he was saying. And see, this is why I don't fool with Nova. Nova did a lot with that book, telling everybody business, throwing everybody on the bus, but none of her business. So, the sheriff said that the family of the men that went missing wanted to reopen the case, and they got wind of the book that Nova wrote. That's why they was like, yeah, we need to look into this. So he said, them people on some BS, and you can kiss my ass. And the sheriff was like, well, I won't be doing that. And he tells, Ralph Angel to move. And it looked like Ralph was going to square up with him, but Darla was like, Ralph Angel, come inside. And Ralph Angel went inside. So, you get to Billy over there, and she walks into Prosper room, and she tries to get him to eat, but he just won't coffee. And she tells him he's not eating enough. And she was like, did you take your medicine? He said, I'll take it later. And she said, you always say that you know how to be you have to take your medicine. He said, I do take it. As long as I take it, it shouldn't matter what time I take it or whatever. So she said she's getting a nurse because she's noticed that he's struggling with his private things or whatever. And he was like, I don't need no nurse, I can take care of myself. And she said she knew he was gonna say that, so she set it up anyway for the nurse to come there. And she convinces him to go ahead and try the nurse out. And he asked her, since you all in my business, what's up with you and Vince? Why y'all ain't got married yet? And she was like, it's complicated. And he said, since you won't talk to me, I hope you got some friends that you can talk to. Don't look like she do. But then he asked her, did she talk to Nova? And she was like, yeah, but we're still not okay. And so now you see Nova over there getting security cameras installed over at her house, and Dominic walks up. Dominic always walks up on Nova. Dominic comes out of nowhere, wherever Nova is. So he was like, he think it was a good idea that she did that. And he wouldn't mind if she needed him. He wouldn't mind making sure she got home safe at night every day and got in her house safely or whatever. So now we at the diner, and Celine walks in, her and Gabriel, and Hollywood is excited because he's going to take Gabriel on his first, camping trip or whatever. And Celine's tell Hollywood how grateful she is or whatever. And now we go back to the interview with Charlie, and she Gail gives her this Gail gives her this amazing introduction with all her accolades or whatever. And she asked Charlie about the work that she did down in Louisiana during the pandemic. And Charlie tells her how it was an honor helping the farmers with the meal and helping the black farmers with the USDA deals, because she said black folks only make 1% of farmers, opposed to 100 years ago they made up 14%, which is pretty, like, I really need to get more into my history or whatever, because like the things that I've been learning lately just by watching these shows, I feel slow because I did not know. And so Gail says that the party leadership is looking at her like she is the next Stacey Abrams. And Charlie was like, I'm in DC right now in another meeting with them. And then this is when the interview goes left. Gail brings up how far Charlie has came compared to the day in the arena when she found out about, Davis and his infidelity. And she was like, we watched you walk out on that court. And they show the footage from that day, and Charlie found out all that stuff at the game, and she just went ballistic on Davis. She walked on that court and whooped Davis' ass. And so she asks about the pictures that Charlie posted online, and she said, it looked like you guys have reconciled. And Charlie says that they have. And Gail was like, how did you work through your previous issues and all the scandals? And Charlie says, they're a work in progress. She forgave him and they're moving forward. Gail asks her if she thinks the public has forgiven him and can he actually be able to move forward. And she says Davis doesn't think that he can make amends with anything, he said, but he'd rather show it with his action, with what he does. And she said he doesn't have the right to ask people for forgiveness, but he asks her to give him an opportunity to prove himself. And Gail says, how has he changed? And she says he donates to the children foundations and to Me Too movements, Time Up organizations. So he's trying to be a better father to his children. And I keep forgetting Davis got, more than Michael. He got that little girl too. And said he can't do much about his past, but he's trying to create a better future. And Gail says that was good to hear. And so then we have Michael and his friend. I don't know if that's his roommate. That might be his fraternity brother. Kicked the camera. His fraternity brother. But he says they're talking about the Garvey and his statements on the black people movement, moving back to the motherland. And Michael says that, imagine if we could go wherever we wanted to go and be with whoever we wanted to be with and live where we wanted to live without threat of violence from the police or anybody. And they both, kind of laugh. And Michael says he got to go because he got to go pick up some flowers. And, the roommate said, he said, for this girl, I got to go pick up some flowers for the girl I'm seeing. And the roommate was like, I don't think Dr. Stetson would take kindly to you calling her a girl because that's a grown woman. And Michael turned around like, say what now? And he was like, oh yeah, I could tell about the way, you get all red in the face when, she's around. And he said he looked at you. When she look at you, you can tell she looking at you like she just want to devour you right then. I'm like, damn, Michael, you putting it down like that on the professor? And so, he tells him not. Michael was like, don't tell this to nobody. And he was like, he would never tell nobody. But,
so now I study all
my bad. It's 9 weeks test week and my son's studying. He wanted my help. So, Okay. He tells him that, he would never tell anybody, him dealing with the professor. And he was like, just make sure you get her a bunch of flowers, a large bouquet, so you can get you an A+. And so, back at the farm, they still over there digging up the land, and Ralph Angel walk out there, and the officer tells him that you can't be out here. And he was like, y'all he was like, you can't be out here, this is a crime scene. Ralph Angel was like, this still is my land, and y'all going too far, because you digging over there by my mama grave. Have some type of respect. The warrant don't say you can go all the way out there. And the officer walks off, and Ralph Angel then scoops up. I'm back again. That was my brother coming to get his plate. Yeah, I had to feed them too. So Ralph Angel scoops up, some dirt off the land and put it in a plastic bag. Then he calls Benny and tells Benny, he needs some soil to be tested. So then you get Billy going over to Nova's house, and Nova tells her, she didn't know what was going on and what Billy was going through, and what Jimmy Dale did to her. She did not deserve it. And Nova says that her mind had so much hatred towards Billy and what Billy did, that she did. I guess her mind just pushed it. She pushed it to the back of her mind, and she didn't think that that was true or whatever. So she was like, she apologized for her silence. And Billy says that she was a teenage girl lured to a secluded place by a grown man who who wanted what he wanted. And she was flattered that he noticed her and was giving her the attention until she figured out what was really going on. And she said she ran out of there as fast as she can, and she lucky that she got away before anything could happen. So basically it looked like he tried to rape her, but he actually did, because I was confused, because I'm like, oh, so he didn't. I was feeling bad for it. Well, I still feel bad for it, I didn't know he didn't do the do or whatever. So she said he went around telling people that that he slept with her, and everybody, including her father, Nova, and Aunt Vi, believed her. And Nova's dad was the only one that actually listened and believed. Well, they didn't. Nova, Aunt Vi, and her father did not believe Billy, but Nova's dad, Ernest, actually was the only one that sat down and listened to her and believed her story. So Nova said, so Billy was like, my word looked like my word meant nothing. So Nova was like, she was young and uneducated on assault and abuse, that she believed everyone in St. Joe. And she apologized to Billy, and she was like, she would never let her down again. And they cried and hugged it out. So Nova done put that fire out. Meanwhile, she got another on the other side over there burning with the fire she done started with Ralph Angel. But you know what, that ain't my business. Darla asks Ralph Angel what made him want to test the soil. And he said he think it may have poison in it instead of them just, using what the family said to dig up the grave. They're basically out there poisoning it or whatever. And he was like, he needed a baseline so he could see exactly what's out there. And Darla was like, "What? You are so smart, encouraging him, just giving him all these And she was like, it's amazing how you just sit here and read the books and you know everything about the farm and you study and the knowledge that you have." And he was like, "I thank you." And he tells her, and she tells him that he shouldn't have to carry the load alone, because, she was like, she found her student account and she sees that, she had some scholarship money and some money that her parents put to the side for her to go to college. And she said it's just sitting there. She said, "I never finished, so I want to, go ask my parents will they send that money to me. She was like, it's my money and it's just sitting there. It's not like me going and asking them for money. It's me like getting what was never used or whatever. And she said she doesn't want to get in any more trouble because they're behind on a lot of bills. They can't take out another payday loan. All the bills are just piling up, and he doesn't want to accept anything from her family. He basically want to be a man and do everything on his own, which is going to dig him in a deeper grave and probably lead him into more trouble or whatever. So he tells her, you know, don't worry about it, I'm going to take care of it. Give me some time to take care of it. So Prosper tells Aunt Vi, he calls her on the phone. He tells her about the nurse that Billy, you know, is pushing on him. And she was like, give that nurse a chance or whatever. And he said, forget the nurse. I need a good meal. And he was like, can you bring me something? He said, Billy good at a lot of things. She can make a mean cup of coffee, but baby girl can't cook. Prosper said. And I said, I got what about some chicken, some greens? And he said, ooh, and don't forget the cornbread. Am I the only person that don't like chicken with bones? I'm weird. I'm a picky eater anyway. If it ain't like hot wings, don't give me no chicken with no bone in it, because I would not eat it. I would really throw it away. Anyway, back to the story. So the nurse come over. Baby, Prosper was like, they introduced themselves, and Prosper was like, you vaccinated? She was like, yeah. He was like, I'm vaccinated, so if you cool with it and you fine with it, you know, you can take your mask off. And baby, when she took that mask off, Prosper's eyes was like, because baby, when I tell you she gave that $1 million smile and them dimples, you remind me of my mom and them dimples. Prosper, like, that nurse took Prosper's breath away, baby. He was stuck over there stuttering, couldn't get his words together. And so it looked like Prosper found him a boo in that nurse. So we get Michael walking up into the professor's office with flowers in his hands and tells her happy birthday, and they could celebrate, but she was like, no. And, you know, Michael over there, you know, laying it on mighty thick, telling her what all they can do. And, you know, she gave him some pushback and was like, you know, she is a grown-up and you at my job. This is not a dorm room. And so this is her place of business. So she tells him he wants more than what she can offer, because for her, this is strictly physical. And she was like, you knew that. And he was like, yeah, I knew that and I respected it, but I thought since it was your birthday, you know, we could, you know, do something different. But, you know, she cuts him off before he can finish, and she was like, you're looking for an emotional connection, and I'm not interested in that. And she was like, I'm sorry for misleading you, but we gotta stop seeing each other. And, you know, the look on Micah's face is like, Micah is heartbroken or whatever. I'm like, dang, Micah can't catch a break. Like, first Kiki, I really want to know what happened with him and Kiki and where Kiki is, because we never did get any resolve in that one. I really want to know that part of the story. Ava DuVernay, can you please tell us what happened to Kiki? Thank you. And so Charlie walks into her hotel room, and it is full with flowers and balloons, like the whole nine. Davis laid it out. I'm assuming it's David with Pritchard's Day. So she goes over, and it's a note. And so she opened the notes up, and then it's Davis telling her how proud of her he is and everything she's doing. And he was like, you know, he loved her. And at first I was like, because the way Charlie looked when she was like, he said, I love you. And she was looking like, oh, this thing got real. First I was like, dang, Charlie finna backpedal. But, you know, she calls him, and, you know, she gets his voicemail. He doesn't pick up. And she was like, hey, you, thank you. This was so sweet of you. And I'm like, girl, go ahead with your mushy voice. So she goes on and on about the challenges that they done went through and all the different ways that, you know, he done showed that he loved her. And she never thought that she would be in this place with him ever again. So she's all happy, and basically she was like, I love you too. And she hang up. And so Ralph Angel and got him a chair and I walked out there in their yard, and he sits and watch them, digging up the yard. And here comes Nova, because Darla done called Nova and told Nova that they was digging up the yard. And she asked Ralph what was going on, and he said, "Oh, nothing. They just over here tearing up the land because they got a warrant to." Yeah, Blessings in Blood, which is the name of her book, gave them an idea that there was bodies buried out there. And she talking about it was all speculations. Well, wench, they over there digging. So obviously the speculation led to something. So she talking about a memory she can't explain, a metaphor. And she said she was sorry and that this was happening. She was gonna make it right. And I'm like, girl, go ahead. So Aunt Vi is at her diner with Celine, and they're over there Celine is putting together some boxes. Can't remember what the box was for, but she asked Vi what else can she do to help, because she want to keep helping any way she can, because how Aunt Vi helped her. And so Aunt Vi tells her you can start by starting your divorce proceedings. And so she was like, I know it's not easy. I've been there. I had to do it. But, take baby steps and think about your son and the good life that he deserves. You both deserve. And so Gabriel and Hollywood's over there having the time of their life fishing when he catch his first fish. Gabriel catches his first fish. And he asks Hollywood, can he throw it back so it can have a happy life? And I'm like, oh. So Hollywood say, of course. And so Celine talking to Aunt Vi again, and she was like, if she divorced Greg, he gonna go crazy, and ain't no telling what he gonna do to her or Gabriel. And Vi gives her a card to a lawyer that helped a lot of women at the women's shelter. And Celine takes the card, and she was like, reclaim your life and get yourself better. You deserve it. And so that was that. And so Hollywood say he's been fishing for a very long time, and he never seen anyone throw a fish back. And he said Gabriel was special, and it was like what his mom taught him about being patient, and Gabriel already has that. And so over at Prosper, he ain't got no problem taking his medicine now that he got this little cute little nurse over there with him. And so he asked if she wanted to play Big Wiz or Spades, and she said, yeah, as long as you don't mind losing. So she started humming, and Prosper like, wait a minute, what you know about some Marvin Gaye and some Tammy Terrell? And she said, oh, I got all their records, every last one of them. And he said, I'm surprised someone as young as you knows that type of music. Prosper trying to run game. He know that late. Well, that was a compliment. It was a good compliment, but And so she said, I'm not as young as you think I am. And I'm like, go ahead on over there, Prosper. So she get to singing again, and Prosper over there clapping and egging her on. I'm like, that was cute. And meanwhile, Michael is over there, sulking in his bed. And he get a knock on the door, and it's his frat brother. And he asking if he wanted to go to the Delta party. And he tells him that, the professor kicked him to the curb, basically. And Brent said, damn, over some flowers? Dang, that was cold. And Michael was like, it wasn't over flowers. And the friend said, don't trip. You was just hitting it. You wasn't in love. And Michael said he doesn't know how to love and leave. He's not a love and leave it kind of guy. He can't separate the two. So he tells him he not going to the party. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to show you how to meditate. And he shows Michael how to, meditate and control his breathing and to remain present in it and to release everything. So while Michael over there exhaling, we get to Nova, and she over there inhaling some reefer. Don't ask me why I said reefer, because I don't know, that's an old word, but I don't even smoke, so I don't even know what the terminology is anyway. But he Gabriel comes over and he was like, you want to talk about it? And she just passes him, you know, the joint, and was like, no. And so somebody pulls up and we see that it's the policeman that was helping her from the inside of, you know, the precinct. And he tells her that he wanted to check on her because the cops on the force knows everything that's going on. And she said she think that someone is recording her calls because she keep getting a clicking noise when she answers her phone. He tells her that they probably is, he wouldn't put it past her, and they're gunning for all the activists. And he took off for a couple of days, and he tells her that she need to do the same. But you know how Nova is. She was like, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. And I'm like, okay, Sister Soldier. So Dominic says, that's a cop, ain't it? And she was like, he was like, that's a cop. I know one when I see one. And she was like, man, what you know about a cop? You an upstanding academic. And he said his mom made a lot of problems, and the cops were called on them a lot, all the time. And him and his brother was taken by the county. And you know, he said at first, you know, he was pissed off, his grades failed, he was fighting everybody. He said until his grandmother saved them from foster care and raised them. And you know, he was like, she was tough, but I needed that. And he was like, and I blamed my mom for years until I realized her neglect made me the person I am today. And he was like, because my grandma poured so much love into me. So he forgave his mom, and then Nova passed him the joint again, and she said, it's good, right? And he said, yeah, this got me up here telling all my business. So nightfall comes, and Ralph Angel still sitting out there waiting on them to dig it, waiting on them while they digging. And he gets a call from Benny, and Benny tells him that the levels of pesticide in that soil is off the charts. And he was like, you got to be either a dummy or you did it intentionally, and we know you are not neither one. And Ralph said, I knew it. I knew they messed up my crop, them damn Landrys. And I was like, dang, these Landrys again. And he tells Darla, you know, it's gonna be all right. And he consoling Darla. And then Aunt Vi and Hollywood show up, and he was like, look, I ain't got time for this right here. And he thinks they there to blame him. And he said, this ain't on me, this all on Nova. And he said, Nova said Prosper told her that Pops didn't do anything. And then Vi said, well, that's where we gonna let it rest it. And she tells Ralph she came to reassure him and support him through this. She knows he's been through a lot and been going through some stuff, but he didn't come this far to for nothing, and they gonna get through it. And a man holler out, oh, we found something. And then he go to sheriff, oh, those look like human bones. And Gildred looked at Ralph Angel and said, I guess that book wasn't all lies. And then the episode goes off. Well, that was my review of Queen Sugar. And sorry for the interruptions, my kid. Anyway, like, comment, share, and I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.